Hello. Having just come from a meeting with the Minister of Immigration during the announcement for new residence category visa in New Zealand, let me walk you through the 8 ways of how you can apply for residence in New Zealand. Quite a number of options available for many, not for all, but for a group of people that New Zealand wants and for whom the qualifications, the hurdles to residence have been lowered.
The Immigration Minister is promising a better and fairer immigration system after restarting two key visas, skilled migrants and parents.
All good?
Who rolled up to get a portrait, meet, and to reopen the crown jewel of our immigration system, the skilled migrant category. But the minister's making it tougher for those who would do a lot of the actual building, unqualified labourers.
The question is who will build the bridges, who will lay the concrete, who will ultimately do a lot of those jobs.
The first category of residence is the Green List 1, a category for specific professions where you can apply immediately for residence. And that Green List 1 list of professions is available on the net. You look it up and you need to meet specific requirements for those jobs. Immediate residence, Green List 1. Green List 2 is an expanded group of qualifications that are specific to sectors that New Zealand needs, and that is essentially a 2-year work to residence requirement. For that category, Green List 2, you need to have an accredited employer work visa, and you need to meet the requirements in the Green List, and you then need to make sure that in ANSCO, the description of your job, it matches what you actually do. We then have a non-Green List category that is also connected to holding an employer-accredited work visa, and that is independent of the job. It makes no difference what the job is, but you need to be paid 2 times the median wage. That means that 2 times the median wage, regardless of the job you hold, for 2 years, and you are allowed to apply for residence. That's what we had up till now. Now we have 5 more categories. The first one is that if you were in the pool, you had submitted an EOI, an expression of interest, for the skilled migrant category, and you meet the 160-point threshold, the government will begin to make selections again from that pool on the 9th of November and then continue doing that until they have gone through that pool. If you want to make a new submission, the EOI, the expression of interest for the skilled migrant category, it's the next category, 180 points are required. Now, in the skilled migrant category, different factors play together and make the point calculation happen. The first one is age. The older you get, the fewer points you get. The next one is your qualifications that you hold, and that requires in some cases that your qualification is assessed if it's from overseas. If it's in New Zealand, it usually gets you extra points. The next one is, do you hold a skilled job? And a skilled job is a job in the ANSCO category 1 through 3. And you obviously have to then meet those requirements that ANSCO gives you. And then there are some additional bonus points for location for partners with qualifications. The skilled migrant category in its old form, the 160 and 180 point format, is not easy to calculate. You normally need professional help to make sure that you don't calculate that wrong. The process is that you submit an expression of interest. You then are invited to apply, and then you want your application ready, and you want to then submit that. You don't have to have all your documents ready at the time you send in your expression of interest, but it is important that your expression of interest reflects what your application will look like, because you will be invited to apply based on your expression of interest. And if there is a difference between what you had in the expression of interest and what your application says, then you will not be considered. Make sure that you get your application done first, at least in a summary of content, so you then know what you can put in your expression of interest. And licensed advisors, of course, know how to do that well. So we now have 5 categories so far. Green list 1, green list 2, high pay category, 160 points, old format, 180 points, old format, but new submissions. But now comes 3 more categories, and these will probably be of interest to many. First is a category in the new skilled migrant category format that will start probably mid next year. And that is a new format category with a much simpler way to calculate points. No 160, no 180, no 200. It is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 fingers. You can calculate whether you get residence. The first category there is if you hold a professional registration. That means you must be working in a profession where people in that profession are professionally registered, lawyers, teachers, engineers, architects, etc. And then dependent on how many years you held that registration, you will be getting points. If you held that registration for 6 years and longer, 6 points. You need 6 points for residence, you're done. 5 years held registration, 5 points, 4 years, 4 points, and 3 years, 3 points. Now, if you get fewer than 6 points, don't despair. There is a way to make up those points, and I will tell you that in a minute. Category 7 means that it is your qualification that gives you points. If you have a doctoral qualification, regardless from where, foreign qualifications obviously have to be assessed and accredited in New Zealand, 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you have residence. A master's level 9 qualification, 5 points. An honors qualification, bachelor honors or postgraduate diploma, 4 points. And a level 7 bachelor qualification, 3 points. Do not confuse level 7 non-bachelor qualifications with this. There are level 7 qualifications out in New Zealand that are not bachelor, usually graduate diplomas. They do not get points. This pathway with qualification starts at bachelor level, whether you have studied here or whether you have studied overseas. 3 points for bachelor, 4 for honors postgraduate diploma, 5 for master's, 6 for doctoral. And again, if you do not meet the 6 points right away in this category, then you can make up those points. The third category is super high pay. If you are paid 3 times the median wage, then you get 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're done. You have residence. If you don't reach that, because it's double pay, you would be on the 2-year list from the accredited employer work visa we just talked about, then you can make up points. So 3 new categories: professionally registered, qualification starting with a bachelor qualification and up, super high pay. Now, if you are a professionally registered person but only have 5 points, if you have a master's degree and have 5 points, you are 1 point short. You can now make up those missing points, and you can make up to 3 missing points. So if you have the lowest category in the professionally registered category of 3 years and more, you only have 3 points. You need 3 more, and you can make up those 3 points by having worked in a skilled employment in New Zealand for 3 years. Skilled employment is employment in New Zealand that is paid at least the median wage. If it is in the ANSCO category 1 to 3, that's skilled, or 1.5 times median wage if it is in the ANSCO category 4 and 5, which is usually unskilled, but by 1.5 times the median wage, you bring that into skilled employment. That means that 1 year skilled employment in New Zealand, 1 point, 2 years skilled employment in New Zealand, 2 points, and 3 years skilled employment in New Zealand, 3 points. Here's how this works. Very simple. If you have a bachelor qualification, you have 3 points. You need 3 more, 3 years of work, and then you apply for residence. If you have a master's qualification, 5 points, 1 point needed, 1 year of work, skilled, you apply for residence. Professional registration, and you only have 4 years of professional registration, you get 4 points. You're missing 2. You would then make up the other 2 points by having 2 years of skilled employment. 6 points is what you need. That system is much simpler than before. It raises some real hurdles for those who do not have either professional registration jobs or have a bachelor and higher qualification or are being paid super high. You will have to look at the accredited employer work visa, green list 1, green list 2, and the high pay list for 2 years of working towards residence. There are other pathways available, but you now have 8 different choices of how you might qualify for residence. Make sure you get good advice. Make sure you look at what is the best pathway for you to move forward. And of course, all of the normal requirements for residence, good character, good health, English are required for SMC, the new category, as in the past.